الحمد لله الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول رب العالمين ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالحق بشيرًا ونذيرًا وداعيًا إلى الله بإذنه وسراجًا منيرًا وبشر المؤمنين بأن لهم من الله فضلا كبيرا اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد المجتبى أحمد المصطفى وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد Praise for the Lord Almighty, who is Ghani and who is not in need of us or our worship and our efforts. But it is merely that He tests His servants and creation, and by testing them, He actually gives them an opportunity to progress, an opportunity to be more elevated and to grow more. And that is how also in worldly terms, to some extent, all these examinations and tests in education, in organizations, are not there to put people into trouble and difficulty, but rather they are there for their betterment and their progression and their development. But the tests of this world, everyone does not have to take many of the tests if they don't want so. If they don't want to drive, they can use public transport and they just don't drive. If they don't want to be educated to a higher level, they just stay as a simple illiterate person and live their life and support themselves through different means of livelihood. But the test of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we don't have choice over that we take it or not. If we are born and we reach the age of maturity, then we don't have any more choice to take that test or not that test. The only choice remains that you pass or fail. The choice which was given to take the test or not to take the test was given in the world of spirits and in Alamul Arwah to the spirits and other creation. There they were given freedom of choice, that they want to be tested by the trust which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will entrust them or not. Now when you have come on this face of the earth, you don't have that choice. Now you have just choice of abiding by that trust or not abiding by that trust. That is the choice now. But one thing is very clear, that you have the choice. You can choose between good and bad, wrong and right, or whatever you wish. But you don't have choice over the consequences of those amal. Remember that you have choice over kufr and iman, such great thing as iman and such heinous thing as kufr. You can easily become a kafir, you can easily become a Muslim by using your freedom of will. Similarly, you can become a sinner or attain righteousness. Between sin and piety, but then you don't have the choice over the result and consequence. Then you will have to face what you have actually chosen. So a person living on this face of earth, especially those who have reached age of maturity, are above 12, 13, they are in a very serious danger, and in which their eternal lives are in balance. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and other Anbiya alayhimus salam, they were the most compassionate people upon humanity. They felt the worry, the pain, and the difficulty which human beings go through in this life. Their hunger, and they took care of it and asked others. But what was that matter that they said to people that these worries and these concerns and these difficulties, bear them for something else? That something else inevitably means that those difficulties to come which they are warning are much more serious than these. Otherwise, they were merciful people, compassionate people who would not hurt anyone, who would not like to see people in any difficulty. But when they ask people to do mujahida and to restrain themselves and to bear the difficulties and hungers in this life for something in the hereafter, this means that the hunger or the punishment or the torture or the pain which they are warning is much more serious than actually the things and the difficulties happening in this world. Otherwise, they even cared for animals, ants, and they, as I said, they were the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said he is Rauf and Rahim upon people. He is Rahmatul lil Alameen. So if they are worried about something more than the pains and the difficulties of this dunya, this is also their compassion that they were given the knowledge and they saw the difficulties which the human beings will have to go through. So much so that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam even knew the sacrifice of Sayyidina Imam Hussain radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and we all know, as I was saying yesterday, from childhood we start hearing And until we die, we hear this. But few are those then who change to their mission. They still remain Yazidi and Shaitani characteristics people, whilst actually giving the manifestation or representation of the people of Kufa and people of Iraq that who would all claim, like we claim. If you ask anyone, say, I love Imam Hussein, I love the Ahlul Bayt, I love the family of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But when the people who will be demanded the same thing which the people of Kufa were demanded, to sacrifice for the deen, then actually they will come with all their excuses. I have work to do, I have family to support, and all these things. This is the character and the attitude of the people of Kufa. Like, we went on Hajj. I don't know how you worked for deen whilst we were not present or not. You attended the majalis or you convened the majalis or not. But it shows the follower of Imam Hussein radiallahu ta'ala that when his grandfather was not present in this dunya, when his father was not present in his dunya, in their absence, physical absence, how he upheld their principles and deen, even if he had to sacrifice his own life or he was alone, he upheld. So there will be people who will say, I love the Mashayikh and Awliya very much. I like Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbagh and the teachers and the Mashayikh of Tariqa Muhammadiyah very much. But when they are not there, they passed away or in their absence, how much they upheld or uphold their deen and their personal amal, this will show you the true colors of yourself, that maybe we are in worse situation than the people of Kufa. At least they held to their ground up to the very last moment, until they were actually put in severe test and balance through the pressure of Yazid, up to the very last moment, until Imam Hussain radiallahu ta'ala anhu and Hazrat Imam Muslim bin Aqil radiallahu ta'ala anhu, until they were not tested very much severely, that their lives were in danger, their honor were in danger, they still, as they claimed, they withheld and they stayed on the side of Imam Hussain. It was only when the severe test and their lives, and they were bribed and the other things, and their children were put in real life and death situation, they left. But we maybe just actually comfort. So this means, this shows when people ask, why I am not getting closeness of Allah? Nauzubillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is wise, He is not fool. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all-knowing. No, he can't be deceived, that He give you something that He will only give to some pious and some obedient and some committed person, and not some surface type believer and claimant and only showing outward expression. And other people might be surprised, or they themselves as well, why I am not getting the true representation or the true taste of walaya and friendship of Allah. But as I said, Allah is the most wise. He cannot be fooled. He cannot be deceived. And I show my character now and then. Who am I truly in the time of tests and other calamities and other difficulties. So whatever everyone and anyone is getting spiritually and physically, I would say they are getting more than they deserve. More than they deserve, more than a million times more than that they are doing, really. They are getting more than they deserve, they're getting more than they are doing, and more than actually really they are putting effort into. If they are not getting, they should seriously revisit their 24 hours. They will exactly know that how in 1 year they change colors, how with such one glance of an eye, one small test, how they switched their loyalty to shaitan and dunya and say goodbye to Allah and His Messenger Azza wa Jalla sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and the Mashayikh actually, how quickly they actually switch their loyalties. So I would say many of us, people who were standing against Imam Hussein and Yazid, in the favor of Yazid in Kufa, they stood their ground up to the very last moments. And we are people who in good days are leaving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and are busy with our own false and superficial purposes which we have made, and all the time coming up with excuses. No, you are not going to deceive anyone. You are only going to deceive yourself. Even if a lone person amongst you stand on the deen or stand in the work of deen, of tariqah Muhammadiyah, of the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he is going to receive the reward of the entire humanity because of his intention and his effort to actually uphold the deen. So a person should actually think about that. And Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbagh rahmahullah, in one of his blessed teachings, gave, when he was asked about that there's some people, they receive guidance and ilham, or from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala they are rightly guided, and other peoples who are not as such, that why it happens so. And he mentioned in that scenario some of the delicacies, some of the aspects of the purification, that how actually some people receive and some people don't. So he was asked about that, how the person can have a sound heart, a heart which has the guidance in there, hidayah in there. How can his heart can be protected, his inner self can receive guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he mentioned that imagine the body is a country. Now these are the sayings of Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbagh rahmahullah regarding this. He said, imagine the body is a country and the heart is like a fortress or a capital city. So like England is the country and London is the capital of city. So or you may say any other country which has its capital, Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, Saudi Arabia, and in it is the heart of it, Medina Sharif, the Haramain. So he alayhi rahmah said that imagine the body is like the country and the heart is like, your heart sitting inside your inner self is like the capital or fortress. If the heart is functioning well or flourishing, it is because the roads leading to the city are clear. If the capital is working well, if the capital is blossoming, the capital is developing and is progressing and is in a good condition, This means that the roads which lead to that capital, the borders of the country, because the borders were not safe, the capital would have been in mess. If the roads which were leading to the capital were inhabited with enemies and other evil things were coming through that road, the capital would never be safe. So he pondered over his example and try to rectify, or at least actually begin to rectify yourself. Say the roads leading to the city are clear, lined by tidy paths, free from debris and surrounded by blessing and gardens. So he gave the example, he said, alayhi rahmah, good thoughts, angels, good thoughts which come from Allah, angelic thoughts, inspirations from the souls of the awliya Allah are allies for the city of the heart. Are the helpers or the allies, yani they are the helpers, they are the supporters of the heart. So who will support your heart? The inspiration from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the hidayah from Allah. Then their indirect means the angels also inspire. Malaika also inspire the heart. They also send good message there. They also put good things. Similarly, the awliya Allah, the souls of awliya Allah, the arwah of awliya Allah, they also can inspire people. They can send messages. They can't force people to do, nor they are meant to do that. But they can inspire. Inspire means that they send a message that do this now. Thought will come. You extinguish it, it's up to you. No one is going to hold your hand and take you into paradise or towards righteousness. Actually, this is against the wisdom or the purpose which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this world, and especially the human being. So he said that these are the allies. ये जो जितनी अच्छी सोचें औलिया अल्लाह के जो तसर्रुफात और पैगामात और जितनी चीज़ें हैं, ये सारी फरमाया कि ये वो जो कैपिटल जो दिल है उसकी इत्तेहादी कुव्वतें हैं, उसकी मदद करने में, they are supporters. They can fly through these pathways to give loud, clear messages to a faculty of perception placed in the heart, provided the roads to the capital city, the heart are clear. And directly they don't come into the heart. They come through the pathways, certain pathways in the body, which leads to a center of a place in the heart which receives the message. But the message come through the lines, the communication lines, which lead to the heart, the mind and the perception which one has actually there. So they don't come directly there, but they have to come through channels. Now, provided the roads of the capital city, the heart are clear. If the pathways and roads leading to the heart are littered with rubbish and mess, the angels' good thoughts and good inspirations do not reach or are contaminated or are blocked from arriving at the faculty of perception placed in the seat of the heart. Agar they are saying that if the person, in other words, the roads which leads to the capital city, the borders which is your body and mind and other things, channels, if they are corrupted, if they have mess in there, if they have debris in there, if they have other dirt in there, so anything which is sent which either will be blocked or it will be contaminated before they reach the heart. So it's just like a capital city, London, and the roads leading to the London city or Islamabad or any other capital is possessed by enemies, the roads from Birmingham, the roads from the north and south, they are possessed by enemies, they are possessed by other, you may say, forces which are against this country, then whatever ammunition, if it is coming, even food is coming, it might be other countries, other people are sending the right amount of food, the right ammunition and support, but in the way it is changed. The enemy changes it and replaces the food with poisonous food. And the ammunition, they take the best for themselves, and the ammunition and weaponry which is not very useful, they send it through. Or they might send bombs, hidden bombs through it. Because the roads and the border is occupied. So whatever comes to the capital is also now actually either blocked, they will block the good things, and if they send, they will send maybe contaminated, maybe there will be hidden plans in there. So Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbar Rahimahullah saying that this you saying, I am receiving bad waswas, I am seeing bad waswas you are receiving because you are entertaining, because the roads, everything you have made a mess out of it, and only now evil breeds on your borders and your pathways, and it is even actually contaminates the good things, the good thoughts actually which comes. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran as well, that He sends message to even Anbiya alayhimus salam, and Shaitan tries to interfere, but it is Allah Azza wa Jal protects. That's why the message received by Anbiya in the form of wahi is safe and is secure. Otherwise, that will be contaminated as well. If there was no isma and infallibility for Anbiya alayhimus salam, and if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had not protected. What to say about us? So, that is one of the reasons Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose the angel Jibreel alayhi salam, who is the most powerful angel, to convey the message, so that no one can interfere with him, no one can contaminate the message, no one can, any other jinn or other shayateen or other power can actually disturb him whilst he brings the message. And he is the leader, he is the king of angels, and he is a very powerful angel. But one of the reasons Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala selected for him to convey the message is for protection. And still, in spite of he brings the message, still many thousands angels are protecting the wahi and the message from the behind, from left and right, and they come with such protected things. This is with Anbiya alayhim salam. Now what to say about actually us? Awliya Allah are protected to some extent, but they are not masoom. And us, who have made, and Anbiya alayhim salam have purified themselves, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has purified themselves, and they themselves actually purify themselves to the extent where they can to reach perfection. Only then the right message received and the right inspiration is received. Ye jo hai na, that we people actually are seeing the dreams and visions and ilhamats, and they are totally mess, 99.9%. So that's why I say to people, don't focus on your dream. The dream of that person is true, who is 100% true, or 99% in his life, in his normal life. His dreams are sometimes mostly true. Not even his dreams are almost actually, because it's not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sunnah to send messages every day and now and then. So people who are after dreams, messages from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does come, and they become contaminated because of the rubbish and the debris which are on the way. Shaitan interferes in there. So Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbar Rahimahullah mentioned this. He said the perception, the sins that emanate from the borders, the sins which comes from the borders, for example, what are the borders? Borders are eyes, ears, tongue, private part, all these 7 organs, they are the borders of that body. The heart is the capital of that body. He said that these organs are the border. So sins that emanate from them, they lead to rubbish accumulating on the roads leading to the heart. Although the eyes are the border, the ears are the border, or the tongue is the border, but when they commit sin, that rubbish, that darkness stays there in that channel which leads to the heart. And that's what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. Innal abda iza akhta khatiyatan nukitat fi qalbihi nuktatun sauda. That when any servant commits sin, darkness enters heart, not light enters heart. But where does the darkness come from? The darkness comes from this border through the channel which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made spiritually to the heart. So don't actually, because you know it very clearly in the Tariqah Muhammadiyah, of course it has been mentioned, don't get carried away by sometime when there's too much light in the day, you become unaware of the significance of that light because it's light all the time. If you are aware of this fact actually, it's no use actually than knowing it and then indulging. Well, you maybe are conveying to others, but yourself you are actually not acting upon it, and darkness is overburdening you. Remember, no one is going to come and hold your hands and make your eyes close by force actually. Enough for you is actually to receive the message of the path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the way how to, and the howness how to act upon it. And it is a bonus if you get any more advice from the teacher or the mashayikh. That's not necessary. So that's why people will be punished. On the day of judgment, they are going to be punished if they say, I didn't have a teacher. It was your responsibility. You knew which is sin. Oh, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is concerned with that. He is not concerned with you find a teacher or not, you find the howness or not. As far as He is concerned, His message reaches you in the form of Quran or Sunnah or the path. This is sin, this is righteousness. You don't act upon it, you are punished. Simple as that. And if you have the privilege to know some of the background, some of the methods and techniques, how to easily abstain from it, it is a bonus for you. It was not a necessity. And if you have the teachers or the shayukh which advise you, it is a bonus, it is not a necessity. And if in spite of that you are not, then actually no one can stop you from failing. No one can stop you. Imam Hussain radiallahu ta'ala could not stop 70,000, 80,000, 100,000 people of Kufa from going, although he tried his best to get them on his side. So know the limit of the teacher. Don't rely on जी हम तो मशाइख की बरकत से ये बख्शे जाएंगे, ये होगा, वो होगा, हमारा शेख हमें बचा लेगा. Sheikhs saying, or Imam Hussain, where is Imam Hussain, who is the greatest leader, and what is other awliya compared to him? The Sheikh's help is so much help that he guides, he counsels, and he advises you. And that is his help and his prayers for you. But then you are the decision maker. And we are such people that some may say, I can't do my zikr, I can't do the muraqabah, I can't preserve my organs. No one else is taking this responsibility. Others' responsibility was only, even Anbiya alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in alayka illa al-balagh. Don't worry too much, O my messenger, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. If they're not acting upon, in alayka illa al-balagh. Upon you is only passing, conveying the message. That is why the people who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses, they are known as Rasul, messengers. They are not forcers. They are not who people known as people who will force people on amal. Jabbar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that we have not sent you as a wakil, as a protector, that you are going to protect them. You are going to force them to the goodness, to fully until they are on goodness. No, you are only conveyor of the message. In alaykal balagh, upon you, O Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is just conveyance of that message. Wa alayna al-hisab, upon us is the accountability. We will take the accountability, and we will ask, and we will hold these people to account, and that why they have not acted upon it, not upon you. So that is why, if it was the responsibility of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would have lived forever, that he would ask, he would put people on the guidance as such. But when the conveying of the message was complete, he knew his mission has completed. His mission was not forcing entire humanity upon the true path, but his responsibility was actually to convey loud and clear a message and implement it into his life and locality. And when he placed this system, he left the world. His leaving shows that his responsibility was not actually to be with everyone to such that they actually act upon it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in alayka illa al-balagh, alayka al-balagh wa alayna al-hisab, that upon you is actually conveying balagh, pahuncha dena, wa alayna al-hisab, and upon us hisab lena. Ab hamare zumme hai, aapke zumme nahi hai. It's not you who will take accountability, who will ask, who will question them. It is us who are going to question, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. So know that if a person is getting some extra bonus, is that if you know some methodology, some technique, and if you're getting nasiha from someone, it was not necessary for you to receive that. It is a bonus for you. For you, it was sufficient to know and how to act upon it. Then you are responsible. Simple as that. Now, our responsibility was actually that as soon as we know, we don't show any slackness from ourselves, rather the humanity which of many of it which is suffering, even they don't know the message, they don't know the how to act upon the message to give to them. Rather, if we ourselves are struggling in the simple level, like Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbar rahmahullah is saying, then we will be lost. Like many of the people who, in spite of living with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Medina Sharif, they were counted as munafiqeen, not as believers. Living with Sayyidina Imam Hussain radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, they were considered shaitanic and supporters of evil, and not the supporters of Imam Hussain radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. And always there will be people amongst the Jamaats and amongst the organizations and amongst the tariqs, actually, there will be all sets of people. Some will play a role of munafiqeen, some will play a role of lazy people, some will play a role of active people, and so and so. So here, Ali Rahma said, the sins that come from these borders, they accumulate rubbish upon the roads which lead to the heart. So he simply said, the way to unblock this debris, this darkness or this sin which is between the border and which is the heart, accumulated on the roads leading to the heart, is to follow the path of Rasulullah, Tariqa Muhammadiyah. He said that the way to unblock the debris of sins gathered between your border of your country and between the heart, they are blocking them, is to follow the course of Tariqa Muhammadiyah. This allows the 7 main roads to become clear and free from debris. so that support can reach you, so that right guidance can reach you, right ammunition and weaponry and right messages can reach you. So now you can see a different dimension of the course of Tariqa Muhammadiyya, how he is mentioning them in relation to receiving the guidance, how a person can, a heart can be guidance. That is why people ask that if heart purification is necessary, why we start with the organs? If the borders are possessed by enemies, the roads are possessed by enemies, how is the capital going to stay safe? You can't directly approach the capital. So he said, in order to allow visions, dreams, good guidance, the spiritual inspirations, the angelic thoughts, the inspirations from awliya to enter the heart, beautiful pathways and gardens should be cultivated alongside the roads as well as clearing the roads. He said, if you want that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspires you, like awliya Allah are inspired by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you want angels to send guidance to you, the visions, the auditions from the unseen come to you, then clear the roads first and then beautify those roads, because Allah's inspirations are beautiful and they are pure and they are pak. They will travel through beautiful pathways, not evil ones. Allah is pure, He likes purity, and His message comes to the pure people as well. So Anbiya alayhimus salam are the people who receive the message in the form of wahi. They are the most pure people, the perfect people. Then there are the Sahaba and the awliya Allah, actually to an extent they also receive guidance, but not wahi, but ilham, inspiration in the form of dream or visions, etc., etc. So he's saying that you have to clear and beautify the pathways. How? He says, gives an example. For example, these beautiful pathways can be cultivated by giving sadaqah, forcing the hands to give sadaqah when they are not accustomed to perform such a blessed action. So we are not, he is talking about now, because there are two dimensions to the course of Tariqa Muhammadiyya. One is clearing the pathways, which is to abstain from the sins. Like in your file you find Tariqa Muhammadiyya stage 1, actually part A, which is like abstaining from the sins of the 7 organs. Then there is Tariqa Muhammadiyya stage 1, part B, which is now telling you how to, these organs should be also trained to do positive and beautiful actions as well. So clearing the pathways refers to abstaining from the sin. Cultivating beautiful gardens around them means actually to do the positive ones. So for example, abstaining from ghiba is clearing the pathways, but to smile at a believer is actually you are cultivating with beautiful, the seeds of beauty. Or like he, alayhi rahmah, is giving an example. The hand which is not used to give sadaqah, he gives the farz zakah, but normally is not used to, it's very hard. So to force it to give the nafal sadaqah, even though it doesn't want, it's like cultivating a flower in the pathways of the hand, the channel which will lead through the hand to the heart. Other, he said, alayhi rahmah said, lowering the gaze from those sights which are permissible in sacred law. He's saying lowering the gaze, meaning not looking intentionally at those sights which are permissible, जायज़ है, यानी उन चीज़ों को ना देखना जिनका देखना जायज़ है. It is permissible in sacred law, in Sharia, but do not necessarily lead to the pleasure of Allah. But they don't lead, those gazes don't lead you to the pleasure of Allah. They are, because matters are, some are, you see, things which are haram, which you should, no one should actually engage them. Some are things which are not haram, which are makruh, one should avoid them as well. Some are doubtful things, doubtful matters. the pious people even abstain from them in the fear that they might lead to the haram matters. And some things are permissible, but there's a possibility they might lead you to haram. The muttaqi people even abstain from them. They are permissible thing in Sharia. They are allowed in Sharia. But there is a possibility that they might lead you, so they even stay from him. This is called wara. And Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jilani rahimahullah said that that person's iman will be saved who will practice this wara. He can be protected. He will be protected from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are limits. So in the course of Tariqa Muhammadiyah, we emphasize mostly on haram and makruh things that people at least become purified. But I was saying that if you want to advance, if you want to taste the friendship, the intimate friendship of Allah, then you have to leave the doubtful things and also some permissible things. So sometimes the mashayikh might say, don't do this, and it might be permissible. But you might, why they are actually saying it is a permissible thing for why they are saying they know that if they goes on this line, he will indulge in haram. He said, I'm watching news. The sheikh, the teacher says, don't watch even news. How can that be unlawful? But when you're watching news, you might be looking at the women, the caster, newscaster as well, who said this is lawful, that for news you can watch her. They might stop you from, so there are many examples which the shuyukh and awliya sometimes actually abstain, or they ask others, and others then they judge on their knowledge. Oh, this is though. But if you have shuyukh and people that who are letting you indulge in doubtful matters and near to haram matters, these people are leading you to destruction. So, as I said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba even mostly abstained from even lawful type of music as well. They didn't indulge very, for example, daf maybe on the time of once a year, twice a year, on day of Eid, people were doing. It never comes from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abu Bakr, Umar, that they were actually playing the daf or anything like this. And some children playing at the once a year, they allow. And they themselves even did not actually favored this. Because, and as I gave you the example in the bayan of Hazrat Abdullah bin Umar, and Amma Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu ta'ala anha even put her hands on her ears when she heard the bells ringing, like some animals have bells hung around their neck or anything, or with the camel. She even actually abstained from that. And Hazrat Abdullah bin Umar, who showed the practice of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he himself practically went out and someone was playing flute and he put his. Yeah. So these were the people who are to be followed, not the other people who people think they're awliya or anything. No one is greater wali than Sahaba, and they are the murids and disciple of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So firstly, it is them who showed us how to follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All others will be judged in the criteria of the Sahaba, Rizwanul alayhim ajma'in. So Sayyidina Umar bin Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu even sometime admonished the people, and some of the Sahaba even he stopped from lawful things because he knew that these things can actually lead to this. So sometimes the true awliya or kabhi koi wali, koi buzurg कभी कह दे किसी जायज़ मामले में, भाई इससे है ये हलाल लेकिन तुम बचो इससे, वो इस वजह से है कि उनको ये इल्म है कि ये हराम की तरफ ले जाने वाला है इसको कुछ दिन के बाद. एंड दे विल विटनेस देमसेल्फ, वो उनको खुद ही पता चल जाएगा, वो करते रहे, हाँ ये जायज़ है जायज़ करते रहे. बहरहाल अब वो कह रहा हूँ कि भाई पहला तो है हराम से बचो, फिर मकरूह, फिर जो है डाउटफुल मैटर से, एंड देन टू even stop from some lawful things which you know that they can actually take you to unlawful. So that's what Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbar rahimahullah is saying, lowering the gaze from those sights which are permissible in sacred law but do not necessarily lead to the pleasure of Allah. फजूल देखना ना. फरमाते हैं this is like actually sowing the seed for a beautiful garden along the pathways. And here Alayhi Rahmah said, another pathway can be cultivated by walking to the mosque rather than driving because of the intention of following sunnah. So this is lawful matter. You drive, you go on a horse, you go on any. But a person who actually goes actually walking, obviously he will get more reward. His pathway from the feet will cultivate more flowers. So he just gave an example that then he said committing sins is contributing to the growth of faras. Now one thing to say, if someone is not, this is to apply upon yourself, not to judge the next person, what I am saying. Because people are only admonished if they are not offering fara'is or they are not abstaining from haram. Mustahab matters, recommended matters, if they are not doing, it's not mine and your duty to say why they are not doing it. Only the teachers can mention, their parents can mention, their mashayikh can mention. You and me, others, we shouldn't apply these things to others. This is for only personal application, personal use कीजिएगा. अब ये नहीं है दूसरे को आप कहें आप क्यों गाड़ी पे जा रहे हैं या आप क्यों इधर देख रहे हैं. It's not for you are not allowed to do that unless you are they are under your tarbiyah, or your father or mother, or your elder brother, or you have some responsibility. वो तो कह सकते हैं. Others, normal people, to other normal people, they shouldn't push or they shouldn't admonish them on these matters, but they can mention, like Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabar Rahimahullah is just giving an example. So he says that committing sins is contributing to the growth of forests of weeds and vicious animals that take the forms of snake and scorpions. These snakes and scorpions abide in the city and do not allow and they fight away any inspiration from angels, good thoughts from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and actually any inspiration from awliya Allah, which are to arrive in the city of heart. So now he's giving another example. Okay, committing sins with these organs is like doing virtues, was cultivating the beautiful gardens along these pathways. Committing sins, on the other hand, through it grows the forests of actually dangerous trees, even actually vicious animals actually in the spiritual world are actually born from them. Snakes and scorpions, other enemies. And these snakes and scorpions and all these things, they stay in the way and they don't allow any guidance, any other teachings to pass through it. So the person remains unguided. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, لَهُمْ عَيُّنُ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ بِهَا. They have eyes, but they don't see. What does that mean? Meaning they have the faculty of eye, but the right guidance to see the truth, they can't see because their pathway is completely corrupt and blocked. لَهُمْ آذَانُ لَا يَسْمَعُونَ بِهَا. They have ears, but they don't hear. What don't they hear? They hear every sin. What don't they hear is the real guidance which does not reach them because of the pathway to the heart and from that ears is blocked actually there. So they'll have these faculties, but they are not working for them because it is just a line of communication. If this is the line between the microphone and the speaker is corrupted, it will actually disturb. If it is cut off, then it won't work at all. So ये बड़ा important है that it stays clear. The heart is actually the amplifier. But the voice to get through to amplifier, it should from here, there, it should be clear, the pathway. So the organ is actually like the speaker, the microphone. And the pathway which leads to the heart is actually like the wire. So in order to my voice to reach the amplifier so it can reach there, this pathway and the border should be saved. If this is corrupted, finish. Nothing is going to go there. And if it is good, it has some extra facilities and extra functions, good and well. It will be more beautified, it will be more loud, it will be more clear. So that's what Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbar rahmahullah is actually saying. So he says that stage 1 of Tariqa Muhammadiyya course, the body stage of Tariqa Muhammadiyya course, allows the roads leading to the heart to be cleared and remove the animals from the city. They teach the seeker of Allah's pleasure how to clear the roads and plant beautiful pathways alongside the road, of these roads. He said the first stage does exactly that one. That it clears the debris, it clears the animals which are in the form of big sins and the darkness as well. And he alayhi rahmah then said, when the roads are clear, they are surrounded by beautiful fragrant gardens, then inspirations from angels and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and awliya Allah are welcomed by those faculties which reside in the city. Then they are welcomed, then they come clear, that person goes on guidance. When the roads are dark, full of rubbish and debris, surrounded by overgrowth, and these animals are roaming around the city, the heart thus becomes an unpleasant place for these inspirations to exist. So they don't go there, they don't exist there, the heart still is blocked. And then he said the zikr which is prescribed to the seeker, the zikr prescribed by the shaykh is washing the roads leading to the city and preparing the city itself for pure and clean inhabitants. फरमाने जो जिक्र है ना, ये वो रोडों को धोता है, वो जो रोड जा रहे हैं. The sins, when you stop sins, you are removing the big blocks from the roads. लेकिन जो जिक्र जो बंदा करता है, it is like it washes the roads. ये जिक्र जो है ये धोता है. It washes the road. It washes the road and it makes it pure for the inhabitants. The water of zikr is allowing plants and pleasant fragrances to emerge from the city. वहाँ जो जिक्र का पानी है, जो जिक्र का असर है, it actually the plants, the beautiful gardens start emerging. Those who do not regularly perform their zikr are allowing rubbish to accumulate in the city. आप धोए ना कपड़ों को या जिस्म को तो वो तो गंदे होंगे. So those who are not regularly, he says, they are allowing the rubbish to accumulate and they again will be disturbed. Again they will go towards destruction. The muraqabah and meditation exercises are like the sunlight for the country. The zikr is like the washing of the roads. It washes the roads and plants the beautiful seeds. Muraqabah is like the sunlight for a country or a city. Muraqabah जो है वो sunlight की तरह है. Otherwise, the country may have a tendency to become cold and dark, not the best environment for clear roads to emerge. Because if the sunlight is not there, then they will be dark and actually they will be cold. Meaning for these things, for good things to exist, you need some warmth which comes from the muraqabah. You need light which comes from the muraqabah. The company of the spiritual master, the company of that teacher, said, is like the help of a great, powerful ally. He's like thoughts are ally. He said, the company of a pious person, the spiritual master, is like the help of great, powerful ally. It's a very powerful friend and ally, whose presence itself can defend the country of the seeker and the heart from countless seen and unseen enemies. Meaning a person who keeps the company of the mashayikh and the spiritual master, said that just being in their presence and their presence somewhere and being with them, even because he's a powerful ally, their presence itself can defend from many seen and unseen enemies. So those people who come to the majalis regularly and see the mashayikh regularly, they are saved from many seen and unseen difficulties, enemies, just because of being present, which they don't even know. All the enemies of a true seeker fear. So all the enemies, shaitan, sin, jinnat, and all these evil, they fear that the seeker will build a powerful capital city. That is their fear. That is the fear of shaitan. That he fears that he will build up or she will build a powerful fortress and city capital, a strong country by striving and learning how to clear blocked roads, cultivate beautiful gardens, and make channels for the allies to arrive at the heart. So when a person is purified to his body and mind, that is how actually then the enlightenment. That's why we've named the fourth stage as enlightenment stage, because that's when actually everything is clear and the guidance and inspiration start coming in the pure form to the heart and mind, and the person, alhamdulillah, can actually now live in righteousness. तो अगर हम पहली स्टेज पे है तो उस पे वर्क करें, but we shouldn't stay there for long. It is just a matter of the others. You see, it's not even necessary to go one by one. ये तो तरीका मुहम्मदिया मशाइख has thought that we are babies and to make it easier for us. Otherwise, it is not impossible at all to abstain from 7 organs at once. If really person puts effort and they really fear, तो ये नहीं. That's how the Sahaba are Rizwanul Ajmain and many awliya Allah and many people actually do. तो वो कोई ऐसी बात नहीं है that you can't. It is, but don't take comfort from it as such that actually you even are struggling and not even completing that. Otherwise, then you are going to stay there. But rather become like the follower of Sayyidina Imam Hussain Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu, that you are the conveyor of the message while practicing the message yourself. यही ख़त्म करते हैं. That was some of the teaching of our master and grandmasters, Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbar rahimahullah, who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed with him with actually such a remarkable and clear guidance and knowledge, and his ability to explain things and difficult concepts in an easy way. Now the whole of the course he is explained in a completely different perspective. And we can see then why it works like that, why it is set like that, how it is. कोई बात पूछनी है तो पूछ ले, वरना नमाज का वक्त हो रहा है. Any question anyone wants to ask? سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله.